Here we are in Genesis chapter 42 this morning. Genesis 42 and 43 continue reading about Joseph and his new life as he became second in command in Egypt after telling Pharaoh his dream. You can read that in chapters 40 and 41. And now we pick up here in 42. 42 verse 1. When Jacob heard that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you standing around looking at one another?" Jacob was Joseph's father. Remember, his brothers sold him into slavery. And I love this because what does he say? Why are you standing around looking at one another? Why are you not doing anything? What another great question we read here in the Bible. I'm going to underline that here. Why are you standing there looking around? We do that so many times. We have problems arise in situations and we don't know what to do. We just stand around and look and just let our thoughts and minds wander instead of coming in to the presence of God and seeing what's up. He's verse 2, he says, I have heard that there's grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy enough grain to keep us alive. Otherwise, we will die. You go get it, or we're hopeless. 3. So Joseph's 10 older sons went down to Egypt to buy grain. 4. But Jacob wouldn't let Joseph's younger brother Benjamin go with them for fear some harm might come to him. He wouldn't let him go because of what happened to Joseph. And he didn't want him to go with the brothers because he didn't think the brothers maybe would protect him. So, verse 5, so Joseph's sons arrived in Egypt along with others to buy food from the famine was in Canaan, for the famine was in Canaan as well. 6, of course it was, because this is God's plan, right? 6, since Joseph was governor of all of Egypt and in charge of selling grain to all the people, it was him that his brothers came. Now remember, his name had been changed. And so Pharaoh changed his name from his Hebrew name. So by name, they wouldn't know who he was. When they arrived, they bowed down before him and their faces to the ground. We see the fulfillment of the dream he had as a boy. 7, Joseph recognized his brothers instantly, but he pretended to be a stranger and he spoke harshly to them. Where are you from? He demanded. From the land of Canaan, they replied. We have come to buy food. 8, although Joseph recognized his brothers, they didn't recognize him. And he remembered the dream he had about them many years before. And he said to them, you are spies. You have come to see how vulnerable our land has become. 10, no, my lord, they explained. Your servants have simply come to buy food. We are all brothers, members of the same family. We are honest men. And we are not spies. 12. Yes, you are, Joseph insisted. You have come to see how vulnerable our land has become. Same question again, right? Or accusation. 13. Sir, they said, there are actually 12 of us. We have a your servants are all brothers, sons of the man living in the land of Canaan. Our youngest brother is back there with our father right now, and one of our brothers is no longer with us. 14. But Joseph insists, as I said, you're spies. 15. This is how I will test your story. I swear by the life of Pharaoh that you will never leave Egypt unless your younger brother comes here. 16. One of you must go and get your brother. I will keep the rest of you here in prison. Then we'll find out whether or not your story is true. By the life of Pharaoh, if it turns out that you don't have a younger brother, then I will know you're spies. 17. So Joseph put them all in prison for 3 days. They're getting a little payback here, right? 18. On the third day, Joseph said to them, I am a God-fearing man. If you do as I said, you will live. He's giving them a little insight here, telling them of his relationship with the living God. 19. If you really are honest men, choose one of your brothers to remain in prison. The rest of you may go home with the grain for your starving families. 20. But you must bring your youngest brother back to me. This will provide that you are telling the truth and you will not die. To this, they agreed. 21. Speaking among themselves, they said clearly, we are being punished because of what we did to Joseph long ago. We saw his anguish when he pled for his life, but we wouldn't listen. That's why we're in trouble today. See, they felt like it's being returned upon them, which it is. Only they don't recognize the truth of what's going on there. And they don't recognize their brother. And so we also see a little insight that we don't see often when we read the story of Joseph. He pleaded, he begged them not to do what they were doing to him. 22. Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? Reuben asked. But you wouldn't listen. And now we have to answer for his blood. Coming to the realization that they have to answer for their sin. 23. Of course, they didn't know that Joseph understood them and he had been speaking to them through an interpreter. 24. Now, he had turned away from them and began to weep. When he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. Then he chose Simon from among them and had him tied up right before their eyes. 24. Joseph then ordered his servant to fill the man's sack with grain, but he also gave secret instructions to return each brother's payment at the top of the sack. He also gave them supplies for the journey home. So the brothers loaded their donkey with the grain and headed for home. 27. But when they stopped for the night, and one of them opened the sacks to get grain for his donkey, he found the money in the top of the sack. 28. Look, he explained to his brothers, my money has been returned. It's here in my sack. Then their hearts sank, trembling. They said to each other, what has God done to us? Instead of rejoicing over the blessing, they begin to question what is happening to them. 29. When the brothers came to their father Jacob, to the land of Canaan, they told him everything that had happened to them. 30. The man who was the governor of the land spoke very harshly to us, they told him. He accused us of being spies scouting out the land. 31. But we said, we are honest men, not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father. One brother is no longer with us, and the youngest is at home with our father in the land of Canaan. 33. Then the man who was governor of the land told us, this is how I will find out if you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me and take grain to your starving family and go on home. 34. But you must bring the youngest brother back to me. Then I will know that you are honest men and not spies. Then I will give you back your brother, and you may trade freely in my land. Kind of a reminder of what's been going on here, right? He'll restore their brother, as he's going to do later. 35. As they emptied their sacks, each man's sack was the bag of money that he had paid for the grain. The brothers and their fathers were terrified when they saw the bags of money. 36. So Jacob explained, you are robbing me of my children. Joseph is gone. Simeon is gone. And now you want to take Benjamin too? Everything is going against me. 37. Then Reuben said to his father, You may kill my 2 sons if I don't bring Benjamin back to you. I'll be responsible for him, and I promise to bring him back. But Jacob replied, my son will not go down with you. His brother Joseph is dead, and he is all I have left. If anything should happen to him on the journey, you would send this grieving white-haired man to the grave. He said, that'd be the end of me. This would take my life. There's nothing more I could do. Let's look at 43. But the famine continued to ravage the land of Canaan too. When the grain they had bought from Egypt was almost gone, Jacob said to his sons, go back and buy a little more food. 3. But Jude said, the man was serious when he warned us. You won't see my face again unless your brother is with you. If you send Benjamin with us, we'll go down and buy more food. 5. But if you don't let Benjamin go, we won't go either. Remember, the man said, you won't see my face unless your brother is with you. 6. Why were you so cruel to me? Jacob mourned. Why did you tell him you had another brother? 7. The man kept asking questions about our family. They replied, he asked, is your father still alive? Do you have another brother? So we answered his questions. How could we know he would say, bring your brother down here? 8. Judah said to his father, send the boy with me, and we will be on our way. Otherwise, we will all die of starvation. And not only we, but you and our little ones. I personally guarantee his safety. You may hold me responsible if I don't bring him back to you. Then let me bear the blame forever. 10. If we weren't wasting all this time, we could have gone and returned twice by now. 11. So their father Jacob finally said to them, if it can't be avoided, then at least do this. Pack your bags with the best products from the land. Take them down to the man as a gift. Balm, honey, gum, aromatic resin, nuts, almonds. Also take double the money that was put back in your sack, as it was probably someone's mistake. Then take your brother and go back to them. May God Almighty give you mercy as you go before the man, so that he will release Simeon and let Benjamin return. But if I must lose my children, so be it. So the men packed Jacob's gifts and doubled the money and headed off to Benjamin. They finally arrived in Egypt, presenting themselves to Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with him, he said to the manager of his household, these men will eat with me this noon. Take them inside the palace. Then go slaughter an animal and prepare a big feast. So the men did as Joseph told him and took them inside Joseph's palace. 18. The brothers were terrified when they saw that they were being taken into Joseph's house. It's because the money someone put back in our sack last time we were here, they said. He plans to pretend that we stole it. Then he will seize us, make us his slaves, and take our donkeys. 19. The brothers approached the manager of Joseph's household and spoke with him at the entrance of the palace. Sir, they said, we came to Egypt once before to buy food. 21. But when we were returning home, we stopped for the night and opened our sacks. And then we discovered each man's money. The exact amount paid was in the top of the sacks. Here it is. We have brought it back to us. 22. We also had an additional money to buy more food. We have no idea who put the money back in the sacks. 23. Relax. Don't be afraid. The household manager told them, your God and the God of your fathers must have put the treasury in your sack. I know. I received your payment. Then he released Simeon and brought him out to them. 24. The manager then led the men into the house, into Joseph's place. He gave them water to wash their feet and provided food for their donkeys. 25. They were told they would be eating there, so they prepared their gifts for Joseph's arrival at noon. When Joseph came home, they gave him the gifts that he had brought and bowed low to the ground before him. 27. After greeting them, he said, "How is your father, the old man you spoke about? Is he still alive?" 28. Yes, they replied, "Our father, your servant, is alive and well." And they bowed low again. 29. Then Joseph looked at his brother Benjamin, the son of his mother. "Is this the young brother, the one you told me about?" Joseph asked. "May God be gracious to you, my son." 30. Then Joseph hurried to his room because he was overcome with emotions for his brother. He went into his private room where he broke down and wept. 31. After washing his face, he came back, keeping himself under control. Then he ordered, "Bring out the food." 32. The waiter served Joseph at his own table, and his brothers were served at a separate table. The Egyptians who ate with Joseph sat at their own table because the Egyptians despised Hebrews and refused to eat with them. 33. So Joseph took each of his brothers where to sit, and to their amazement, he set them according to their age, from the oldest to the youngest. 34. When Joseph filled their plates with food from his own table, giving Benjamin 5 times as much as he gave the others, so they feasted and drank freely with him. We see Joseph doing a very incredible thing and showing a greatness and love to his family, preparing them for the news that was going to come shortly. You know, God always gives us more than we deserve. And we see this here. Joseph, though they deserve death, though there's a penalty for what they did, Joseph gave them life. He filled them. And, you know, that's what God does for us. Even though we deserve the sin, the consequences of our sin, he, through his blood, through his sacrifice, through his love, gave us more than that. And we see this pattern going throughout Scripture. I hope you know the love of Jesus today. I hope you know that no matter what you've done, he'll forgive you and he'll love you. God bless you. Have a great day.